Everything around you is vibrating. That isn't just poetic mysticism, it's physics. The chair you sit on, the mug on your table, the picture frame collecting dust, they all emit frequencies, even in stillness. According to the law of vibration, nothing rests. Everything is in constant motion, oscillating at its own unique energetic frequency. And within the walls of your home, this silent orchestra plays endlessly. What many don't realize is that your personal vibration, the energy you carry in your body and mind, is constantly interacting with the energy of the objects surrounding you. You're not just living in your home, you're exchanging energy with it. The items you choose to keep, where you place them, and how you treat them begin to shape not just your physical space, but your emotional and financial atmosphere. That creaky old lamp in the corner that barely works but you never remove? It's not just clutter. It holds a frequency of neglect, of stuckness. That broken appliance you've been meaning to fix? It doesn't just sit idle. It emits a signal of unresolved energy, and over time, your environment starts to reflect that same static. These things aren't just there. They're vibrational anchors, and they're pulling your frequency down with them. The more objects in your space that carry the energy of disuse, frustration, or abandonment, the more your environment begins to vibrate at those lower frequencies. And because like attracts like, your personal energy begins to align with those same wavelengths. You might find yourself more tired, more unmotivated, more forgetful, not realizing that the room itself is subtly reinforcing that vibration every day. Your home isn't just a place to sleep and eat. It's a living, breathing container of energy. And the moment you begin to look at it through the lens of vibration, you start to see what you've allowed to remain and what it might be costing you on an energetic level. There are objects in your home right now that you haven't touched in months, maybe even years. A drawer filled with tangled chargers for devices you no longer own. A box of old notebooks, yellowed pages curling at the edges. A cracked mirror leaning against the wall, waiting to be fixed. These items might seem harmless at first glance, but over time, they become silent collectors of energetic residue. According to the law of vibration, every object holds the frequency of its current state. When something is broken and used or out of place, it begins to generate a vibration of disconnection. That energy doesn't disappear. It stays in the space, lingering like static in the background. And because energy always seeks alignment, your own internal state begins to mirror that stagnation. The problem isn't just the object itself, but the emotional weight it begins to carry. That cracked mirror might subtly echo a lack of self-care. The unused blender in the back of the cabinet could represent abandoned intentions. Each item becomes a symbol, not just of what it is, but of what's been left undone. And your nervous system, more sensitive than you realize, picks up on these signals constantly. Over time, this slow buildup of energetic clutter begins to influence your choices, your mood, and even your financial flow. When you're surrounded by things that no longer serve a purpose, the environment reinforces a narrative of delay, neglect, and resistance. You may feel a heaviness when entering certain rooms, a drop in clarity or focus, not realizing that these objects are not neutral, but vibrationally active. Energy wants to move, but when it's trapped inside forgotten corners and broken things, it begins to weigh down the entire field of your home. And when your home is heavy, so are your thoughts, your actions, and your potential. Some things are harder to part with. A gift from someone who's no longer in your life. Clothes from a different version of yourself. Old letters that carry the scent of a memory you're not ready to release. These aren't just objects, they're emotional artifacts. And while they may look like tokens of love or nostalgia, many of them hold frequencies that quietly anchor you to the past. The law of vibration teaches that everything carries a frequency that matches its emotional charge. A sweater from a relationship that ended painfully doesn't just sit in your closet. It radiates unresolved emotion. A drawer filled with souvenirs from a time when you felt more alive might seem harmless, but every time you pass by, your energy dips into longing or loss. It's subtle, but it's constant. This type of clutter is the most deceptive. Because it's personal, it feels justified. You tell yourself that it's important to keep these things, that one day you'll sort through them. But every day they remain. They hold you in a vibrational loop, one that keeps you connected to moments, identities, or emotions that no longer support your growth. It's not about forgetting the past. It's about recognizing when an object is keeping you from fully arriving in the present. Energetically, the space taken up by sentimental clutter becomes unavailable for new experiences to enter. Your physical environment is a mirror of your internal world, and when it's full of memories, there's little room for momentum. It's like trying to walk forward while staring over your shoulder. The weight may not be visible, but it's deeply felt. Letting go doesn't mean rejecting the meaning something once had. It means honoring that its role in your journey is complete. And in releasing it, you allow your space and your energy to vibrate with who you are becoming, rather than who you once were. Some things in your home are plugged in, glowing, humming, even when you're not using them. But it's not just about electricity. These items are also plugged into your field, drawing from your attention, your peace, your focus. And while their financial cost might show up in your utility bill, the energetic toll is far less visible and far more disruptive. Consider the television that stays on in the background, not for watching, but for noise. Or the laptop that never shuts down, resting in sleep mode beside your bed. These aren't just technological conveniences. They're portals of persistent vibration. Each emits a subtle frequency that interacts with your body's natural rhythm. Over time, your nervous system becomes overstimulated, your sleep shallow, your clarity dulled. Energy doesn't disappear, it disperses. And when you're surrounded by devices that constantly emit, you're absorbing more than you realize. But the drain isn't always digital. Certain objects, especially those with symbolic weight, can act like energetic siphons. Mirrors placed directly across from beds, for example, reflect and bounce energy throughout the night, preventing rest. Sharp decor, aggressive color schemes, or inherited items with unknown histories can all carry vibrations that create low-level stress. You feel it as irritability, fatigue, or subtle resistance, but the source remains hidden, woven into the fabric of your environment. Even your wallet can reflect this. Think of it. If it's worn out, cluttered with receipts, or filled with expired cards, it emits a signal of disorder. And that signal doesn't just stay inside your bag. It touches your relationship with money, prosperity, and self-worth. Energy flows where clarity exists, and wherever there's clutter, confusion, or neglect, flow becomes friction. When you begin to truly see your surroundings, not just as decor, but as active participants in your energy system, the cost of keeping certain objects becomes impossible to ignore. What once seemed harmless starts to look expensive, not in dollars, but in drained focus, lost time, and stagnant ambition. Everything in your home is broadcasting a message. Whether it's loud or soft, chaotic or calm, each object holds a vibration that feeds into the frequency of your personal field. And the law of vibration makes it very clear. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. That means the energy you live in becomes the energy you live out. A room filled with broken or neglected things whispers of delay, of holding back, of uncertainty. And when you spend time inside that vibration, you begin to resonate with it, subtly, unconsciously. You start to attract situations that match it. Delays in projects, lack of clarity in decisions, even unexpected expenses that seem to echo the same disordered rhythm. But the reverse is also true. When you begin to shift your space intentionally, removing what no longer serves, repairing what still holds value, creating room for flow, you raise the vibration of your surroundings. And in doing so, your own frequency rises to meet it. Suddenly, inspiration feels more natural. You feel lighter. Conversations flow more easily. Opportunities begin to reappear, not by luck, but by energetic alignment. This is why some people, without even realizing it, block financial and emotional breakthroughs simply by what they allow to remain in their space. A cluttered entryway that makes coming home feel heavy. A workspace filled with distractions. A bedroom that doesn't invite rest. These aren't aesthetic issues, they're vibrational signals. And the universe responds not to what you say, but to what you surround yourself with. So the question becomes, what frequency are you allowing into your life? And what is it attracting back to you? The more your space reflects your clarity, your intentions, and your worth, the more reality mirrors those same truths. It's not magic, it's resonance. Your home responds to you. And just like the body needs movement to stay alive, your environment needs intention to stay aligned. When you start shifting even one object with awareness, moving it, cleaning it, letting it go, the frequency of the entire space begins to rise. The energy loosens, flow returns, and you begin to feel the difference, not just see it. Start where your attention naturally goes. That shelf you've avoided, the box you keep stepping around, the drawer that feels emotionally heavy. These are not just chores waiting to be done. They're energy fields waiting to be released or restored. Even a small act, like dusting off a corner and placing a fresh object with meaning, can reset the vibration of a room. Sound is a powerful cleanser. Soft music, intentional claps, or ringing a bell can break up dense energy in stagnant corners. Scent, too, carries vibration. Burning incense or using natural oils like lavender or sage doesn't just shift the air, it shifts the mood, the presence, the way your space feels when you walk through it. You're not just decorating, you're recalibrating. But more than tools or rituals, what matters most is the consciousness you bring into the process. When you act with clarity, this object no longer serves me, or this space is ready for new energy, you activate a deeper law. Your external changes begin to reflect an internal choice, to evolve, to release, to allow something new in. And the universe, always listening, always matching, responds. You don't need to change everything at once. One shift leads to the next. Energy, once moved, wants to keep moving. The more you choose objects and arrangements that align with who you are becoming, not who you were, the more your life begins to open in that direction. What starts as a simple clearing becomes a reset of your entire field. And if this message found you at the right time, it may be because you're already vibrating towards something new.